In the previous video, Introduction to Trigonometry, I went through how to use cosine, sine and tangent to find unknown sides in a right triangle. Let's look at an example where we use cosine. Here we have a right triangle where one of the angles is 60 degrees. The hypotenuse is 6 and the adjacent leg to the angle is 3. This gives us the cosine of 60 degrees to be equal to 3 divided by 6. Meaning the cosine of 60 degrees equals a half. So, if we know the ratio between the hypotenuse and the adjacent leg when the angle is 60 degrees, we can use this fact to find unknown sides in the right triangle. In the case where the adjacent leg is unknown, we can set up the following equation. Since we already know that the cosine of 60 degrees is a half, we can easily solve this equation to find x equals 3. You can see more about this in the video Introduction to Trigonometry. However, in some cases we don't have a unknown side to find, but instead we are looking for a unknown angle. In this case, we get the following equation. So we know the ratio between the sides, but we don't know the angle. How can we solve this? What we need is the inverse cosine, also known as arcus cosine, which we write as arcos. This function takes the ratio between the adjacent leg to the angle and the hypotenuse and outputs the angle itself. In our case, this will give us 60 degrees. That is, we can input 60 degrees into cosine and get the ratio between the hypotenuse and the adjacent leg. If we take this ratio and input it into arccosine, also known as inverse cosine, we get the angle. In our case, 60 degrees. The same formula applies to sine and tangent. If we take the ratio of the opposite leg of an angle and the hypotenuse and input this into arcsine, we get the angle we're looking for. If we know the ratio of the opposite leg and the adjacent leg of an angle, we can input this into arctangent and get the angle. In this example, we have an unknown angle and we know the opposite leg to the angle and the length of the hypotenuse. We can set up the following equation since the sine of angle x equals the opposite leg divided by the hypotenuse. So we get that sine of x equals 3 divided by 5. We can now use arcsine to find the unknown angle x. If you found this video helpful, feel free to subscribe to the channel.